Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. And today we're going to talk about the internet because it can never basically go down. Now, what got me thinking about this was a really interesting article by David Shepardson from Reuters. And here's what he said that really got me thinking about why this is just beyond critical. Americans, meaning every citizen here in the United States or anybody living here, just used over 100 trillion megabytes of wireless data in 2023. That is up 36% over the prior year and the largest single year increase in wireless data consumption. And that is according to an industry survey released basically yesterday on Tuesday. Now, this increase, 26 trillion megabytes over 2022 for the record, comes as a growing number of 5G wireless devices are being used. And that is according to the group that represents Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and other technology firms. The total number of wireless connections rose to 558 million last year in 2023, and that is up 6% over 2022. Demand for spectrum use is soaring, driven by, in part, more wireless use and advancements, including drones, self-driving vehicles, space missions, precision agriculture, and more. The survey said that the number of minutes that Americans spent talking on the phone actually fell slightly from 2.5 trillion minutes of talk time to 2.4 essentially in 2023. So that is obviously crazy because, who talks on the phone these days? We're all in Zoom or Teams or messaging. And speaking of that, about 2.1 trillion text messages were sent in 2023 as well. And essentially, roughly the same as the prior year. Now, this rise comes as wireless is in the middle of a standoff in Congress over how to actually find a new spectrum. If you didn't know what this fight is, this is actually an important one. Now, Congress, in March of 2023, let the FCC, or Federal Communications Commission's authority to auction spectrum essentially lapse for the first time in 3 decades. Now, that was amid a debate about what's basically spectrum was used by the Department of Defense or what could be repurposed and shared. Quote, there is no pipeline of spectrum for 5G. That is according to that group's CEO that represents Verizon, etc. And quote, to continue to meet the insatiable demand for wireless drive innovation and support America's economic competitiveness, the wireless industry needs to access more full-powered licensed spectrum, end quote. Now, the Biden administration also announced steps in November of last year aimed at freeing up additional wireless spectrum by repurposing spectrum currently set aside for parts of the federal government, but has come under fire from basically the opposite side of the aisle. Biden's a Democrat, obviously, so the Republicans have an issue with that because nobody can vote on dog catcher at the moment. So this obviously is a huge thing, but it also shows that while we need obviously more bandwidth and more spectrum, we are growing at a pretty rapid rate, especially adopting wireless technologies. I literally wrote an article for Forbes, I want to say like 5-6 years ago, on the changing concept of what 5G will be for security. So this has been a long time coming into fruition here, but it also really underscores how dependent we are on the internet in general. We do everything in our lives to the point where phone addiction, social media addiction is an actual real thing. I've talked about it, here multiple times before. But when it comes to commerce, it comes to industry. I don't care if it's a construction site, a hospital, a bank, whatever it is, it all runs on the internet. If I go to the bank and say, hey, I want to move, I want to wire $10,000 from one bank to the other, that's all done by the internet. This is what we're talking about. You want to monitor cameras remotely, for security. That's done by the internet. You want to check the stocks. It's done by the internet. Everything runs on the internet now, which means we as a society, meaning the government, has to ensure that we have the proper infrastructure in place that can be licensed so that the private companies, the Verizons and AT&Ts of the world, can actually keep up with this demand. And when they fall behind, it is felt. And it is felt not just because people get slower speeds, but slower speeds mean less access to opportunity. Those areas that don't have good internet or virtually no internet at all, how are you going to go online and get a job? Because nobody's filling out, job applications via paper anymore. How are you going to apply to colleges? That's all online. All of this stuff essentially is moving online, which means you then start to create pockets of basically economic disadvantage. Now, things like Starlink and other things are coming along that may help alleviate that, that is a good thing for the record. I don't care what you think about Elon Musk, but satellite internet, I think, is a good gap for those places that, data cables are hard to reach. But it also means we have to continuously keep expanding, which means the government has to give these corporations the flexibility to keep growing to support a growing population with a growing demand for data and the transmission thereof. So it's one way or the other. Any way you cut it, this is a tough one to talk about, but quite frankly, it's why the internet must survive. It can evolve into something else, but this sophisticated communication system, and you are literally watching or listening to me on the internet, we need it. It can't go down. It can't ever go down, and it must expand, and it must be ensured globally that it does. Otherwise, we're just going to be leaving swaths of people behind like we already are. So there you go. That is your news of the day. We are data and wireless hungry, and that's only going to grow. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well, all on the internet. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Take care.